so refreshing. Almost as refreshing as the fact that it is Thursday. And you know what that means? That means it's time for Hey Rockstar. I know that you've been waiting since Monday for this show because this show, I bring so much of my stories. My guests bring their stories filled with value. Value and lessons that you can take, personalize, apply them to your disciplines, and then use that to help you detach from failure, take ownership of your life once again, and develop the right mindset so that you too can become the rock star of your industry. Hello everyone, I'm Josafat Emiliano, your beloved host of Hey Rockstar. Welcome back. It is Thursday. This is episode 47, and it is an interview with a rock star. I got a great guest for you today. But before we go, if it is your first time, welcome to the show. Please do the thing, the whole love, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. And we will love you with everything that we have, with all of our M&Ms, because I have M&Ms here with me today. I need a little bit of sugar, pick me up. It's been a long day, but it's been a good day because I'm excited for this show that we have. What else? Oh, also, for those of you who are listening to the podcast, thank you, welcome. Leave a review. Unless you don't like it, then we'll still love you, but I got nothing for you. Anyway, so enough about me, enough about the show. Let's get you to the nitty-gritty, to the reason you came here, because this legend of a rock star that I have with you today, when we first met, we were both doing the hustle. We were both doing stagehand work. We were both slinging weights, throwing ropes, helping the show go on. And as I got to know him more, I got to know about his heart, his desire. This man is a rock star in the entertainment industry. I mean, first of all, not only is he an actor, he's also gone to become a producer to help out in those areas. But now he's trying his hand as a director. So if you're looking to be in the show, I might know someone. So send me your information. Just kidding. I'm not an agent. I can't do any of that stuff. But I don't want to take much time because this gentleman is about to just blow you away with what he has to offer, his story, his adventure. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome James David West. Did you like that, brother?
That's the most intense introduction I've ever had in my entire life.
Yes.
I hope that I can live up to that hype.
You will, my man. You will. James David, I feel like it's been forever since we shared the stage together.
Yeah. At least a year and a half.
At least a year and a half. T-Back's finally slowly opening back up.
I heard.
But same here. I mean, people have been asking me if I'm planning to go back, and well, right now other opportunities are opening up. Mm-hmm. Now they need help for maybe part-time. Mm-hmm. I might go back, but for now I'm just focused on building this brand, building the business, and now just helping to educate people of all ages and helping them to grow and advance. But anyway, David, sometimes I'll refer to him like that, ladies and gentlemen. Unless you can speak Spanish, you're not allowed to. No, just kidding. So when I know who you are, and a few people who we've invited to come watch know who you are. But for the rest of my audience who have no clue why I brought you on the show, would you mind just sharing a little bit about your story, your adventure, and where you are today?
Ooh, my story. I'm a Nashville native, born and raised in Nashville, Tennessee. Still here. Haven't left yet. It's not for wanting, just haven't had the opportunity. I, at the age of 30, decided that I wanted to start acting. And it's kind of like one of those times where you get really depressed and you think, what if I would have done this thing? What if? And I always had that question every time I was in my really low spots. So a friend of mine suddenly was in a community theater show. And I said, hey, how did you start doing that? Because you weren't doing that, and now you are doing that. And I want to do that. How do I do that? And he invited me, his name is Shondell. He invited me to Murfreesboro Little Theater. Yeah, Shondell McFall, little name drop. He invited me to the theater to introduce myself and talk to people, and then I talked to one of the directors of a show that was auditioning the next week. They said, "We need a bellhop. Come on out. Maybe you'll get it. Who knows?" And I auditioned. I got the lead part, so it was pretty sweet. The next show that I did, I got the lead part in that as well, and I won Best Leading Male Actor award for Murfreesboro Little Theater's 2015-16 season, which I told myself I love to do this. I love performing. I was a musician for years. I enjoy being in front of people and doing things and them watching me, if that makes sense. The second one that I did, Butterflies Are Free, that one was like, okay, if I do this one, then and I like it, then I know this is where we're gonna go. And I liked it. I really enjoyed it. I got an award when I didn't even know what I was doing as far as acting. And then fast forward, here we are making the transition over to film acting and auditioning, which is the story of an actor's life. That's it in a nutshell. I mean, I can go in deeper with more details.
Okay, cool. So now we're going into this, but no, so you never took any kind of like acting classes before? You just were
Not
offered
up
the
until
opportunity
then.
and went for it.
Yeah. I just said, hey, I want to. I know how to read things, and I know what people sound like, or at least I think I do. And there's a lot more to it than I initially thought. But yeah, no formal training going into community theater, and then after that, I did take acting classes and audition classes, script analysis classes. Just you're always learning. So yeah,
So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to be an actor in theater, just go up there and do it, and you'll figure it out and make it work.
Just go up there, do it, and you'll be a lead actor in no time.
There is other steps that need to be done.
Yes, there are.
As far as my part, I've like yourself, I also did performance. Started off a musician, singer, performer, and all that stuff, but I never did my own stuff. So I didn't add this to the intro because I love the wording you used about I'm a baby actor in this industry, where I of 6 years, but wait, how did you word it? You know what? I don't want to misquote you. The right words were newbie baby. There we go. Newbie baby.
Newbie baby.
Honestly, I'm surprised. I didn't know that you also were a musician. That you started off in as a musician until I read what you answered me about. You couldn't make it as a songwriter, or you humbly say you couldn't make it as a songwriter. I'm sure you could have. Okay. Now, David, I can talk about myself all day, and we can definitely do that. But I want to talk more about you. But I just want to say, my experience was when I first came here. I didn't come looking for the music. I needed to change the scenery. I happened to come to Music City, and I'm like, well, let's plug in. And I learned right away. That I didn't have the drive that my fellow musicians had to go every night, play every night, just spend an hour or 3 hours just to go up and have 10 minutes to play one, maybe two songs, and that was it. You were in a long line of people, of nobodies, if you want to put it that way, to try to get your voice out and get your song out. And so at that point, I mean, I love performance. I love finding places where they wanted you to do several songs, and it was just a nice little crowd. I just didn't have the drive to keep doing that every night, doing that every night, in hopes of making it big. So that's when I realized I need something else. And
my dad came to Nashville to be a country music star. That's what he came here for. He did not make it. Life happened, and he moved on. Still plays music to this day. But my thought was, hey, I'll pick it up. I don't like country music, which is funny because living in the country music capital of the world. But I still want to play music, and I got a guitar, learned how to play whenever I was a teenager, self-taught. I never was very good at writing songs. I was always better at coming in and adding to, if that made sense. So
gotcha.
I'm better off in a band setup where someone else is the main writer, and then I can go, oh, well, here, let's add this. It may make it better, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not, and made some pretty cool songs throughout my life. Also some really, really bad ones. And then I moved on to manage a band called The Rivalry in 2014, which eventually I had to stop that because it was taking up more time than I was able to give. Um, and then started at TPAC right around 2015, the first time. 2014, I think, 14, 15, somewhere around there. And that's when I said, hey, I think I want to try this acting thing because music ain't cutting it, but I still like to be the center of attention. And that's really that's simplifying it greatly, but that's basically what it boils down to. Music wasn't working, so let's try this acting thing. And in the movie, what was it? A Star Is Born.
Oh, I
Have
haven't
you
seen
seen
that
it?
one yet. I need to watch that.
Okay.
Wait, which one?
Well,
There's like 4 or
the
5
most
different
recent one.
renditions. Okay. The
Yeah, the
Bradley
most
Cooper
recent
one
one, the
and
Bradley
Gaga.
Cooper one. It's so good.
Okay.
Well, there's the thing that I would tell you that I guess I
Go
can't
ahead.
say because you haven't
Go
seen it.
ahead.
All right.
I allow it this time.
If you haven't seen it by now, it's your fault.
It is.
It's on HBO, Netflix, or one of those.
It's
It
a
was.
one of those.
Anyway, at the end of it, Sam Elliott's character is talking about one of the other characters and says, he always said, Bradley Cooper's character, that it's music is the same 12 notes played over and over again in various different ways, but there's only so many patterns that you can play them. There are only so many things you can do with 12 notes. But what matters is the voice that you have. What story do you want to tell? And if you have a story to tell, people will listen. I'm paraphrasing and butchering it, but that really spoke to me because my songwriting that I found is through acting now. And I get more out of acting than I ever got out of trying to be a musician. And that's not to say that it's better. It's just to say that I don't know, it brings something different out of me that I enjoy putting out into the world. And hopefully people like to watch. That's the goal.
On this show, we call that Rockstar Gold. You just dropped off some really valuable information there, my man. Because everyone, truthfully, and that's kind of why this show started, everyone has a story to tell. They tell it differently in different aspects. I've had entrepreneurs on the show. I've had financial gurus on the show. I've had leaders. I have had worship leaders and musicians. I think you're the first. No, the second, because Molly was another actor. So I've had a few actors, and I'm trying to get some coaches in here because everyone has found their way to be able to express their story. And I actually had a minister here a couple of weeks ago who I like what he said. He goes, he believes that every experience that we have had in life has prepared us to be the best of what we are today. And we can use anything that we've gone through, good and bad, as a lesson, valuable lesson to step on so that we can become kind of like, what's the word? So we can become kind of like the experts in something that could help other people out. And so, I mean, the fact that you learn that your voice is stronger or louder or more able to show in this arena. Although I'm sure that if you were given a chance to do something else, you would probably figure out a way to let your story out in whatever other creative venue. But right now you have this ability to speak or to perform in your arena. You know what? This question just came into my head because in this show, one of the things that I want to express is when we go through times of failure, sometimes we tend to, the reason why we fail, and I tell everyone, you're not the failure, your plan that you're using failed you. You're not broken. The system that you're probably still using is. So, but the problem is people tend to identify with their plans, identify with their life or with their career. And when the career, the plan, the system breaks and fails, then they, by default, identify themselves as failures. And I'm like, no. You need to detach from that failure to move forward. So I know that last year for us performers and creatives and or at least stage performers, a lot of us felt like a failure and it wasn't even our fault. It was just something that came and shut us all down. Was there any moments or would you mind just kind of explaining what you went through during that season? Whatever you're willing to share, man.
Yeah.
We're not going to try to get too deep into anything.
Okay. Failure, I think, like what you were talking about. It's how it's subjective, I think, because if you fail at something, does that mean you're never going to do it again? That you failed at it? I failed at being an actor. I didn't make it. Well, I've only been doing this for 5 years, 6 years now, so it's not like I've failed at
Newbie
anything.
baby.
I'm still a newbie baby. All right. Um, the pandemic it put a halt on stuff, and what I think is the most interesting thing about the pandemic, aside from all the negative stuff that is obviously attributed with it, I always wanted more time. I need more time. I need more time.
Yes.
If I had more time, I would be able to do XYZ. And then suddenly more time was gifted to me, and it gave me so much to think about. Oddly enough, the very first a feature film it's not finished yet, but it was the first one I was in 5 years ago ish. It's a low budget passion thing that a friend of mine's doing. It's called Reflections, and it was all about reflecting on your past and reflecting on choices you made, whether they be mistakes or whether they be the completing of a goal, just the things that you set out and you're reflecting on. I was finally had no other choice but to reflect, to think about all those things, to think about, okay, why am I where I am? Is this really what I want to do? Because I am out of work right now. I'm out of work. What can I do for work? Okay. Can we do stuff in the entertainment industry? How do I get more money? Then, of course, we had the unemployment stuff that helped out for a lot of people. But then you're thinking, well, what can I really do right now as a creative, as an actor? How can I further my brand? We're all stuck at home. There's no networking. There's no events that we can go to. And even if there were, we're not going to them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go to a big event. Like, why would I go to something like that right now? I still got a thing that I got to do in 2 weeks, so I still have to be around a bunch of people, and there's sacrifice involved with that as well. But what's the word I'm looking for?
Onomatopoeia.
It has to deal with imposter syndrome and feeling
Oh,
like a
that's the term
fraud.
that I didn't even know that it existed until I started trying to build my brand and my
Yeah.
business. Yeah, imposter syndrome. That was a new term for me, but it's a real thing.
Listen, I'm fake. This isn't me. Okay. This isn't. I'm not who you think I am. I'm in my head. I'm somebody completely different than what other people perceive me as. And I think there was some meme that I saw on the internet that it basically said, other people's opinion of you is none of your business, which
Ooh,
is that's profound. Thank you, person
ooh,
on Twitter five
ooh.
and a half years ago. Um, uh, I'm thinking at night, every single night, this is what I have to offer, and I'm faking everything else. I'm putting on a front. I'm acting as if I am these things. I'm not these things. And then you get just bombarded and shot down even more.
Mm.
What have I booked of merit? If I go to my online profiles, does it look like I'm an important actor? No, it doesn't. What does it look like? Looks like I've booked some things. That's a positive. Booking stuff is important. You got to book stuff. But not only that, are you trained enough to be able to book stuff? Are you good enough to be able to book stuff? Um, are you weak in a certain area? That's what pandemic for me personally was like. Okay, let's
Mm.
take a step back and let's look at from a performative stance. Am I up to par with what I want to be? No, I'm not. Okay, what do we do? How do we make that better? I don't know how to answer that question. So what's the only thing you can do? Everything. Just bring everything in. All the YouTube videos. Let's get the master
Yeah.
classes. Susan Batson is a acting coach out of New York, and I happened upon her online classes with her and her son Carl Ford, I believe. And she's coached some of the Oscar winners. You're talking about Nicole Kidman, Tom Cruise, Jamie Foxx, and so, oh yeah, I want to go to her classes. And she was saying all the stuff that I had no idea what it was. And then I bought her book and I read her book called Truth. I'm not being paid for this. I'm just saying everybody should read it. It changed my the way I view everything about acting, and it almost didn't change anything about the way that it comes out of the way it looks, aside from how to be more truthfully me.
It's
And
called The
in
Truth?
it's just truth
Oh,
is
Truth.
what it's called.
I'm putting
Truth.
it on my list of
Yeah.
books.
By Susan Batson, or Susan Batson LLC, based out of New York. Everyone learns things differently, and everyone takes in stuff differently. For me, just the fact of having to dive into stuff about your childhood that I didn't want to dive into, and what we got nothing else to do because we're in the middle of a pandemic. So let's dive into that. Let's have some phone calls with some family members about what was I like when I was 8, when I first started coming to my own as far as decisions that I could make. What was I,
Yeah.
when was it that I started becoming standoffish, blah, blah, blah. And then learning all of this in order to look at a script. I have one somewhere, a script, and look at this one person who, he's a demonologist, and he's going in to exorcise the house, right? He's going in to get the demons out. All
Get
the
him out.
stuff that I learned for about me as a kid, and how to compartmentalize and how to look at those things. That what is your public persona? And public persona is a big one, and that's about what is it that you put out into the world that you want others to see, and you purposefully put this out there.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge one, because I'm a person who suffers from ego. I've always had a huge ego since I was a kid. Why? Let's break that down. I had all the time and the silence to do so during the pandemic. Sit outside on the front porch. I stopped smoking cigarettes, an 18-year addiction.
Congratulations.
I stopped drinking alcohol, which was getting very out of control
Oh,
because of who I am as a person and pandemic.
yeah.
And those two major things are things that I never thought that I would be able to not do anymore. And having the failure of not being somewhere else in life during the pandemic actually allowed me to take a look in and be able to work on myself from the inside out. And I still got a long way to go.
No, that is powerful. I had a guest from the UK on here.
Mm.
He was a meditation coach, a men relationship coach too. But when we were talking, I was more interested in like the meditation part, because I, like yourself, well, I live by myself. I don't have roommates. But during the pandemic, other than my neighbors, sometimes we kind of like put a bonfire and we do like the 6 feet
Mm.
distance, whatever. Other than them, and of course family through and Zoom calls, I really didn't get a chance to go out. But I had a lot of time to look inward, and I mean, I kind of thought I liked everything about me. I mean, I'm a fairly easygoing guy. I'm a positive person. But talking to this meditation coach, he mentioned something called shadow working, and it's a lot about like self help, or like just it's the art of owning your demons. I guess that's the best way I can say it.
Yeah.
And being alone, I got to pull them all out and just look at them at face value, like, okay, I see you.
Mm-hmm.
And most people, I can see why people say you're unattractive, or I can see why people would say that you are something that you shouldn't have, but you're still a part of me. And I mean, I take ownership of this, because I know that I can use this to give me strength in other areas, because I can control this. This is something that I can hold on to. I'm no longer ashamed of the negatives in me,
Yeah.
because they make me.
Yeah.
And there's a balance now, because I have all these uglies, so that I can also use all what people like. But I own it, and I believe that they're both give me strength to be who I am.
Yeah.
And I can come off as more genuine. Because like yourself, I also put out a front. Not even a front, really. Now it's more like it's me.
Yeah.
And I had to seek coaching when I started the business. Hey Rockstar was just, I wanted to perform. I needed something to perform, and I was seeing people do live streams like, I want to do this and share my stories, thinking it's gonna be something fun. And then along the line, people are like, hey, you used to have a dream as a keynote speaker and empower a presenter.
Mm.
Why don't you build a business like that? Because right now virtual keynotes are high in demand. They're like, oh, perfect.
Yeah.
But I had to seek professional, or like you saw the guru, or a mastermind who helped you in your area. Well, these people started helping me build my business, and one thing that they said, why are you keeping the Hey Rockstar and the Josafat Emiliano separate?
Hmm.
Don't you know you're the same person? And I'm like, and then one says, you know what? If anyone can pull off that persona on stage, it is you. Because it comes, and it's funny because like now when I'm going out in public and saying hi to people, one of my favorite things to do, and I don't think I did this T-Pack, but like, especially like someone I just met through a friend, and they're like, as soon as like they're saying, or they give me a hug, like, oh, it's so good to see you, or it was so good to meet you, and
Hmm.
I smile, and like, I totally agree with you. It was so good to see me, and then I would smile back, and they like, that was a cocky thing to say, but I don't feel like it came from a place of arrogance. It came from a
Yeah,
place of confidence, but yet funny. And they laugh and they're like, I like this guy. I like his attitude and such like that. And I just give them that smile of, I'm just being playful, but I'm being truthful too.
yeah.
Because it's genuine because I've taken ownership of my demons. I've taken
Hmm.
ownership of everything I am. And man, the first few weeks though, pulling it all out and writing it down, journaling, seeing the
Yeah,
ugly, I'm like, oh my gosh, why did I
yeah.
hide this? But then I'm like, but you know what? I don't hate you because you're me. I need to, and if anything, I need to nourish you because there's going to be times where life's going to get hard, and you're going to be what's going to help me make it through these hard times that the pretty
That's
me
it.
can't make it through.
That's the one right there. When things get hard, we are the ones who are going to help ourselves.
Yeah.
We're the only ones who can help ourselves in some ways. I mean, other ways they can. But if I don't love me, how can I love other people? If I don't like me, how can I like other people? If I don't believe in myself, how can I even put myself out there and hope other people like what I do? Yeah, and you're probably at 3 o'clock in the morning gonna go, yeah, it's still fake. There's that imposter syndrome coming in. There's that no, that thing that there's this one thing that I keep going back to all the time. It's a memory of mine. I was in St. Louis in high school. We were going through the St. Louis Arch, the big arch,
Hmm.
or yeah, arch, whatever. The St. Louis Arch. We were going in that. We got
The
into the
half
little
circle.
elevator thing, the half circle thing. I had a pencil in my hand, and I thought it would be funny if I just took my pencil out, put it on the seat next to me, and my friend Jesse sit down on it. I thought it would be so funny, and it was hilarious. Not, it was not funny. It was not cool. It was not a fun time. It was stupid. And I, as an adult, I've thought about that so many times because it's one of those things where it comes up like, why did you do that? And there's no real answer.
Hmm.
I just thought it would be funny. And I've apologized 100 million times. I'm so sorry for doing that one thing. And she's like, you're fine. I thought it was funny. It was no big deal. It didn't really hurt that bad. Psych, it did hurt, but hey, we were kids. No big deal. Those are the things that uh, for me, I had to allow myself forgiveness. I had to be able to forgive myself for these things. And this is the biggest one that allowed me to stop smoking, to stop drinking. And I say stop and not quit. Because if I say quit and I pick it up again, that means I failed at quitting. But if I say
Mm.
stop, that means if I start again, it's just time to work on not doing it again.
I
Little ways to
like
psych
that.
yourself out.
That is good right there.
Hey, man, because you know how many times I've quit smoking? You know how many times I've quit drinking? I've quit drinking for good this time, and I didn't. But if you have a drink ever so often, you don't feel like you're an alcoholic. But then you take a look at your life and wonder, why am I drinking alcohol so much? Why am I wanting to numb
Yeah.
myself? It's because I don't want to take responsibility for. I don't want ownership of me, of my person. I want to numb myself so that way all of these thoughts at night don't happen, or they slow down, because my brain does this. It just goes. You said that, yes, you did say, hey, man, I said to you, it was nice to meet you. And you were like, yeah, I know it was.
Okay.
But
So
it was so funny because we were walking out of TPAC at the end of the night. You and I had talked, I don't know how long that day. I'm thinking, why is this dude talking to me? I don't know him, and we have a job to do. But we were still working. We weren't like stopping what we were doing. But you just unapologetically kept talking to me and wanting and asking me genuine questions that I had to answer. And I'm like, I don't remember what they were, but I
Well,
remember.
it's because you had said that you've been TPAC longer than me because you started
Mm,
like 2014. I didn't get
yeah.
there till 3 years ago. So
Well,
you
I
knew where
left.
certain things were. So I knew at least I
Yeah.
could depend on you. It's just they elevated me to a higher rank faster than
Yeah.
most people.
Well, you also had, in order to get to the higher rank, you had to continuously work the
Yeah.
not good stuff and sit in traffic for 2.5 hours to work 15 minutes, which always irked me, even though we got paid for the full time. This isn't a TPAC thing. But you did not come across as an arrogant person. And whenever you were like, yeah, I know it was. I thought it was funny because it was a genuine laugh. And on the opposite, if I do that to someone and I go, yeah, I know it was, it sounds like I meant it. It sounds like I'm a cocky SOB because that's just what my voice sounds like. And then I get to think about that at night. I think about those things. Remember that time that you said, duh, and that lady in front of you at Walmart was probably having a really bad day. She could have found out that her granddaughter uh, was took herself out of rehab and left. You never know what someone else is going through. And if I say something that makes me seem negative or that I feel that I am better than someone, 3 a.m. David is who tells me about it. And
Mm.
I have to own up to that. And if I don't have an answer as to why, then that's a thing that I need to work on myself. That's a thing that I need to give myself permission. And this is a new thing. Give me permission to um, uh, forgive myself. Forgive myself for the mistakes I've made. Forgive myself for the mistakes I'm gonna make. But if I don't allow me to be okay with where I am today, Thursday, how are we going to be able to do work in the future? Come on, dude.
Mm.
Let's go.
Mm.
Get it. Come on. You got to get right. And that for me so far, and that was because of Susan's book unintentionally leading me down this path of um, self, I guess you could call it, this path of self that I've started to go on this year. I haven't read any books specific to doing this. I haven't. You said you had a guy that was into meditation, which I've looked into meditation. My mind moves way too much for me to just do it.
It's taken me a while. First time I attempted, I made it maybe 2 minutes before my thoughts
Yeah,
started flooding in.
it's awful. It's awful, and I have to take sleep aids now to go to sleep. That's the thing that when you stop drinking for so long,
Mm.
your body is used to having that crutch to go to sleep, and that constant thought of, you're just faking it, right? You're not an actor. You're definitely not a lead actor either. Remember that thing that you're supposed to do that you filmed whenever ago? It sucked. You sucked. Just watch it. It was bad. And then other people will go, hey, I saw that thing. I really liked it. And they're genuine. And then I go, it sucked.
Mm.
Because in my mind, that's all I'm capable of doing is sucking, of being not good at stuff. But then the act of, that's where the magic is. That's where, when I'm actively doing it,
Yeah.
I hardly even take pictures on sets with my cell phone to post to the internet because I'm in the moment. I'm doing it, and then I think, oh, I should probably take a selfie. Can someone take a picture real quick? Even though we got a cinema camera that's taking, it's shooting an 8K
Oh
at
wow.
60 frames per 120 frames per second, whatever it wants to, if we're doing like a slow mo thing. But there are so many pictures already there. Just wait until it comes out. But then the thing doesn't come out until 2 years later, so no
Yeah.
one sees it. And then that's also part of it. You only see, there's this picture where it shows an iceberg, and above it, all you're seeing are the rejection, the no, the rejection, the no, up here up top. Okay, below sea level, you got this one iceberg right here, but below it, you got the rest of the iceberg
Mm-hmm.
that's down here. This is what people don't see. They don't see how hard you worked on it.
Yeah.
They don't see that you made it to 2 different callbacks for a role. They don't see that. They don't see the amount of work and coaching that you put into one specific audition that was security guard number 4. They don't see that. They only see the things that we post on the internet or what we verbally pass on. And people tend to come up with their own opinions whenever you verbally pass it on. They base it off of your personality, I think. You must be pretty good at that.
That's fair.
You're so outgoing. But I can be charming if you let me.
Charming. Mr. James David West, the charmer. No, dude, this is good. I love where this is going. Totally, we're staying totally far away from the questionnaire, and that's cool because this is the truth. This is what most people don't know that some of us battle with. Yeah. Because when we perform, and honestly, to me, I as bad as this sounds, you knew I grew up in a church background, right? I'm not sure if you knew that or not. Growing up as the pastor's son, to me, all my life was a performance. Even the way I had to behave in front of people, I was constantly having to not be myself. I had to be what everyone expected me to be. And that was a hard burden to carry that when I finally, I never really snapped, but I did hit a low point, but I had to separate myself from all that. I was in a third world country, sleeping on the floor, doing mission work, but still I was just miserable because I'm like, here I am supposed to be doing good. I was doing good. I'm helping people. I'm going out of my way to do what everyone presumes is the right thing to do as a good little Christian boy, but I am not happy. And I've already shared this with my audience. That's when I started abusing alcohol and just for that same reason, because at nights I wanted to numb the fact that I was not happy. And it made no sense because I'm doing good. I'm doing what is right. I'm doing what has been taught that every good little Christian boy should do. But I was not finding satisfaction or purpose or happiness in that. And I had to get away. Whenever my 5-year contract ended with this company, this nonprofit organization, I came back to the States, and that's when I discovered acting. That's when I started getting into film work in Dallas, and it. Even though I kind of entered through a Christian organization, I was finding gigs that were not really with them. I just kind of used them to learn the training and get some networking, but I was going and doing commercials and other things. And every role I would try it out for, kid you not, man, because everyone always saw me as the good boy, the happy boy. I was purposely, intentionally always looking for the villain role because I knew if I could play the villain well, if I could pull that off, then I can pull any role I want off. Because I can genuinely be good, but can I also be what's it called? Chaotic good? Can I be can I be the bad person for once and be loved for being the bad person? And so that was like a whole my mind, and that's when I realized, okay, there's a darkness in me that I've been concealing and hiding because everyone says that you're not supposed to show that off. That's not pretty. And it took many years. It took solitary confinement for me to do some self-work, to meditate. And like yourself, I also started pouring in. I started seeking value and reading more and listening to people who were where I wanted to be as a speaker. And because I'm a big believer that when it's time to do the work, the inner work, you can't pull in what you don't pull out. And that's what encouraged me to start the show. Because I want my audience who's ready to, when they're ready to do change, to change their world, I want them to come to my show and know that any show they go to, my guest is giving them value that they can take and apply in certain ways. But when they're ready to do the work, they have all this good in them they can start, or these life lessons they can pull out to say, oh, this worked for him, I'm gonna try it out. Yay, this kind of worked for me too. And they can take that risk, or they can take those baby steps in towards a new version of themselves that's more genuine when they're ready to do the work. But other than that, that's the main reason why I started Hey Rockstar, because in my eyes, everyone's a rock star. They just don't feel like it. But anyone can be a rock star in their right, in their whatever they choose to be. But I want to talk to you about something else now, man.
All right,
man.
let's do it.
This is me getting advice from a pro in my eyes. You are a pro.
Bro?
You're a pro, bro.
Tell that to my bank account.
Well, they said the great artists really don't make money until after they're dead, right?
Hey.
We're not artists. We are performers.
There you go. Well, I'll take artists. Look, we'll get there. We'll get there.
So I now that I've been working on character building
Hmm.
and working on myself as an actor, I've realized, and I'm going to take a personal situation
Okay.
in my family. We've been suffering several losses, actually, more a recent one. But don't get me wrong, I do feel sadness. I do feel like, oh my gosh, but there is a part of me that, and I was talking to my best friends, like I I feel almost stoic in the fact that I am not emotionally moved like I used to be
Hmm.
in real life. Like, or when things happen, I understand it. I take time for it, but instead, but then okay, and then fast forward, not fast forward, but like in the same time frame, I have an audition come up, and they said we need you to do this, and I get in front of the camera, I get ready for this on video audition, and suddenly all the emotion that I've been like not suppressing, just like a weight or not affected by,
Hmm.
I can remember how to get there, and I get into that moment, and the emotion that is needed, I use it and I bring it out, and it feels natural, it's coming through, and then once it's cut, I go back to that stoicism.
Hmm.
I mean, have you experienced anything like that?
Yeah. Yeah. It, the way I look at it is that, let's say this box right now that I'm confined to, this box is one that I'm allowed to do the thing that you have hired me to do. You are going to pay me money, or hopefully, if this is an audition, I'm here to show you what I have. And I'll use this for an example. There is a movie that I was in that's going to come out hopefully later this year called One More Dream. It's a coming of age story. No spoilers, but I play a guy who's a photographer who is not exactly, he doesn't have the best interest of the younger models in mind. Okay. That was uh, an interesting place to go in my mind, right? Because I have to be creepy, but also you don't want to just be creepy when you're acting. Like there's truth within your heart, so you have to make yourself okay with the things that you need to say in front of the
Yeah.
camera. So for the audition, I took my own camera and I was snapping pictures and stuff, and then they came back and said, "Hey, we liked your audition," which is great, but they want to know what I look like doing the thing that's on the text, doing
Hmm.
doing the thing. What do I look like? What do I sound like? What are the choices that are being made? And by choice, a lot of that has to do with the way that you do something, but also your inner monologue of what's happening. So if I am taking a picture and then I look over at someone and I see a new model who I've never seen before, what is it that I'm thinking in my mind? What is the thing that is coming out? What am I, David, actually thinking, as opposed to what is the camera actually seeing? I am allowed to go to this place where I've thought some stuff. You know, we've all thought some
We've all.
stuff, and we don't want to think these things. We don't want to do these things, but in this box right here, I'm allowed to.
Mm.
You have me here specifically to do these things. I listened to a podcast with Javier Bardem. I'm probably even butchering his name, but he said he, he is allowed to go to such dark places and they're not real. And when he played, oh, I can't remember his name right now. He was in a movie with his wife, Penelope Cruz, and he had to play a very bad guy and do very bad things.
Was
And
it the Wasp Network?
I don't. It was about the big cocaine dealer
Yeah,
from.
the Wasp Network.
Uh, he said, at the end of the day, we would leave work and go home, and home we're still husband and wife. I don't feel this way. I don't want to murder here. I don't want to kill people, but I do when I'm at work. I'm allowed to. I'm supposed to do these things. So why should I feel bad about going to that place? Because it is within all of us. We all think things. Everyone thinks things.
Yeah.
We brush it off and we put it into the bucket or the folder, filing cabinet, whatever that it's supposed to be in our brains. But then let's say I just got a call that my grandmother is now in the hospital, that something has happened to her. I'm also about to film an audition. Okay, how do I now do this audition where I'm supposed to be a professor at a college? And it's some simple scene where we're just going over the history of whatever. But now David, the person, has this information of my grandmother is in the hospital. It's very serious.
Okay.
Is it a very serious thing and I just need to hang on and find out what happens, or is it a serious thing where I need to leave right now and go? If I need to leave right now and go, ring a ding, hey, I can't do the audition, family emergency. But if I can do the audition, if I just sit and wait, how do I use those um, emotions for what I'm doing? I'm just a history professor talking about history. I don't know,
History.
something about the proletariat times. I don't know. These are just words in my brain that
The
are popping
battle,
up.
the Gettysburg Address.
Gettysburg addresses. Okay, he's
Addresses.
addressing. So obviously, in that scene, I would have a lot of emotion to give out in my person. I need to get that emotion out, and now I'm allowed to in this box to do that now. So this very simple lesson about the Gettysburg Address now becomes a very passionate speech to a class. Instead of me just teaching something, it's now a passionate speech. What looks more enticing on camera? A passionate speech about the Gettysburg Address, or a monotone, mundane professor just riddling off some stuff on a page? The former. So your emotions are therefore guiding you to this place. There's a coach called Crystal Carlson, and Acting of the Heart, I think it's called. I went to one of her workshops, and it's all about taking the emotion, doing the emotional work prior to, and knowing where you want to go and where you're going to allow yourself to go. What emotions you're going to allow yourself to have, because I'm allowed to in this box.
Yeah.
I just got to be allowed to in my brain. And if I allow myself to do that in my brain, hopefully what we're going to see is some art, hopefully. And that's assuming that you've put in all your proper work and that you don't have to stare at a script in front of you.
Yeah.
There's a long-winded answer, but
No, it's good. I mean, because people need to know. People need to know that that's to me the acting. That's how I balance it emotionally. That like most people like, well, you're a fun-loving guy, but when it comes to like real life, you really don't express you're not over emotional. You show just enough flavor to know that you are human, but for the most part, you are very stoic when it comes. You're not reactional. And like, yeah, because all the emotion, I use that whenever I'm acting, because that's when I have to pull it out. And it's draining when you pull out your emotion and you're forcing, even though you're not feeling this, you need to remember and go to that place so that your performance, it comes from genuineness. It's your emotion. It's your secret that you pull out. But after you're done, because it wasn't something that was natural, or like, I guess it was natural, but it wasn't something that you're reacting to. You had to work to bring it up. It exhausts me, so I'd rather just be stoic in the normal day to day in life. Of course, I'm genuinely happy when good things happen, and I'm sad when things happen. I'm just not over.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just to me, it's just an interesting thing. It's happening more and more now that I become more and more professionally trained as a performer to control. And of course, I know people are probably saying, "Well, that shouldn't be that sounds like a bad thing." Like, no, it's not. That's a discipline.
It is a discipline. It takes a lot of discipline to be able to reach in and turn on the switch in that one emotional place inside of your brain. But also, just because my character is being extremely heartbroken, and that's what you're seeing, doesn't mean that David is actually breaking his heart right now.
Yeah.
So we learn the sense memory, we learn the muscle memory, we learn these different things so that we can use it to our advantage. But also, if we're in a genuine place and we are in the right mindset, you might actually see me break my heart right then. And if we're lucky, we caught it on camera. If we're lucky, or someone saw it on a stage, which is powerful.
It is.
You said something at the very beginning where
Let's rewind
you
it.
yeah, let's go back and watch. You said that something about you're able to affect people, and that with your art, whatever it is, whether it's songwriting, with your voice, you're able to do a thing and someone else is impacted.
Hmm.
Now, granted, I think I'm changing some of the words up. I apologize, but you're allowed to do these emotions, and if we're doing our jobs right, and for me, the reason why I do this is because I want, out of, let's say, 75 people in a small black box theater, if one uh, super manly man who drives the biggest truck that you've ever seen and has the biggest belt buckle, and um, I don't know, his boots go way out, the with the tips in the front, because he's one of
They
those,
call them
okay?
roach squishers.
Yeah. Uh, he ain't gonna cry for nothing. He ain't gonna cry. But then if I'm playing a homosexual who has had his life ripped out of his hands because now he's got the information that he has AIDS and he is positive for HIV and he is going to die, that emotional whatever, the 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 act of making it okay within your brain, that's the beauty of art. We get to see that happen. If I can make that one person feel emotion and get a little teary-eyed because he is watching me and I am truthfully showing this, telling the
Hmm.
story, I'm truthfully doing this. If I am able to reach that person, that's it. That's what I
That's that's
and
your
then
gold moment.
if we can do it on a 65-foot big screen, then all the world's a stage, as they say.
That is
I don't even know if I answered my own question there brought up, but
no. That was. I
look, I talk
mean,
a lot.
whatever you answered it. Whatever that answer was, it answered it. We don't even need to know the question anymore. That was something someone is listening to right now, saying,
Mm,
that's a good dream, or at least someone who that's a good dream to have, or a good goal to have, but also someone who like just thinks really lighthearted, like, oh, I want to be an actor just because they are famous and this and that. Like,
mm, mm.
well, not all actors are famous, and it takes a lot to get to that place,
It takes a
work
lot.
wise, mental
Yeah.
wise. Um,
And well, work wise for sure. You got to put in the work. You got to, it's longevity over short results. I'm not saying that right, but I mean, I've been in this for 5.5, almost 6 years now, and um, we're having fun. We're
well, to
having
be fair,
fun.
you've been a performer way longer than that.
Yes, I've been a performer my entire life,
Exactly.
you
And
could say.
everything has prepared you for this. All right. So, we're totally just going off of the
Damn,
script.
just
I don't
going
have a
into
script
it.
here.
Just
But
going in.
okay, here's another just out of curiosity, and I'll share what I do, what has
Okay.
helped me out. And I kind of already touched bases on this, but do you have any kind of practices, like, again, we just talked about this job as an actor and going to those places, having to go to those places, and maybe at first it's harder than it is today, but is there any kind of practices that you got to do to, when you're off the camera, where you're no longer in front of the camera, to return to normal James David?
Hmm.
Any habits or practices that you do to kind of detach from your job, like leave the job at job, and when you come
Okay.
home, kind of situation, even though for us our job is at home because we just have a camera.
I will say if there is a ritual that I do, mostly just take your shoes off. That's you're living in the shoes of the character. Yeah. So
I
let's
like this.
say
I like that.
so I did a audition for an attorney a couple of weeks ago. I did another audition for a security guard, number 4. So,
Number four.
but security guard number 4. Hey, let's get it. Come on. And it was a good casting director too. So, and that's the other thing, but that's another episode, um,
It's another show.
another show. The shoes that you're wearing, it affects your posture. If I wear a shoe with a bit of a heel, I tend to stand taller because I'm not leaning forward, or I guess you feel like you're leaning forward, so you kind of compensate. You're leaning back. It actually gives me better posture. So if I okay, let's say for instance, I was in a show called Somebody's Baby, and I played the extremely racist white cops. Someone's got to play the extremely racist white cop.
Someone's got to be the bad guy.
Someone's got to play it, and I have a face that looks mean when I want to look mean, but in order to feel it,
I got a comment for you here in a bit. Go on.
okay, in order to feel it, there are thoughts and words that I need to say out loud. And in the script, I'm supposed to say these specific words, but in my brain, obviously I'm saying what I mean and making it my truth. On this specific one, I'm saying very nasty words in my brain that we all know exist in order to be in that mindset, and holding up a stage gun, a fake prop gun, up to a black man's face and saying things in the show. That was very emotionally difficult for me because I was in the show specifically to spread more awareness of this and to make a point, to make a statement. Yet I'm thinking in my brain right now what that statement is against.
Yeah.
And then I got to go backstage, and I'm one of 3 white people in a 15, 20 person cast, and then have to be backstage after I just thought these things and it was very real in my brain. How am I supposed to rid myself of this? Well, take off the costume, take off my cop get up, take off my shoes, the very nice, shiny cop shoes, take those off. And now I'm back on my feet, my soles of my feet on the ground. And we can start to feel the earth from there. And we can start to feel our energy coming back, slowing the breathing down. And then look in a mirror, and I know what my face looks like. I know every morning when I brush my teeth, or just washing my hands from, drinking coffee, taking a morning poo, whatever. There's a time where you're looking in the mirror, and when you're on stage or in camera, you're not aware of what you look like. You shouldn't be. I mean, you are, but you want to not be aware of it. Now I'm aware. I'm able to look at myself and go, okay, this is me. This is who there's that little hair that always flares out. Okay, this is me now. I got all the stuff off. If you're unable to take off your costume, taking off the shoes will help ground you if you're able to.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Rockstar Gold. If you're unable to take off whatever, taking off the shoes will help get you grounded. Dude, that was powerful. That was powerful, my man. Unintentional, but it's truth, and it's just it's a good reminder. It is definitely a good reminder, because we've all heard it said, you got big shoes to fill, or walk a mile in a man's shoes or another person's shoes, whatever, and it makes sense. I get it, but that is powerful. Take off the shoes and get grounded. Me, again, I was gonna share that what I do is nowadays I don't have to do shadow work and writing anymore. It's more like I just kind of in my meditation time. But when things get hard, or I've gone through things where the emotion is still there, and like we were talking about earlier, how sleeping, sometimes we struggle with that. I used to too, until I started doing shadow working. Like right before I go to bed, I'd open up the journal and I'd let it all out. Everything, the thoughts, the nasty, the stuff, I write it all out as though it is me, and it's just pouring it out. And once I see it on this canvas, once I see it in this book, I can say, okay, it's out of me. And I close that book, I put it aside, and I can sleep like nothing.
Yeah. I'll have to try that. A close friend of mine, I don't know where it is, I have to look for it. I'm in my bedroom, which is why I'm looking, in my office. It's one and the same. She sent me a journal specifically for journaling, doing stuff like that. And then about, I don't know, 3 weeks after she sent it, she's like, so have you started yet? I'm like, no, not yet. All right, let me know when you start. And then about a month later was like, hey, did you start the thing yet? And I'm like, no, no, I didn't write anything down. I'm faster at typing, so I could just type my thoughts up. I'm way faster at typing. And she was like, that's not the point. The
Yeah.
point is that you're physically making the words show up on the page. It's an extension of yourself from your mind through your hand to the pencil to the page. And I have yet to do it. So
Well,
maybe this is another reason to
well, no,
start.
no. It just, and I even learned some short writing back whenever college. So there's some shorthand, whatever it's called, just, and
Yeah.
that helps me too to get through thoughts through faster. But also the whole idea of just slowing down as it's coming out. It's almost at the speed that I'm speaking it or thinking it. Although the mind works so faster than I'm impressed on how much our our innate computer we have in our heads can do that we don't allow to do simply because we're put in this little box right
Yeah.
here of of what we can get done in time, whereas the brain works like double, triple, quadruple time. And sometimes I tell everyone, especially I'm trying to practice speed reading now because I learned from Jim
Wow.
Quick. I saw his video, and he was talking about how have you ever noticed that when you're reading, you kind of read at that audible voice because we were taught to read audibly so that our teachers will know that we are grasping the words, but they never break us out of that habit. So we spend our whole life reading with that inner voice. And sometimes, have you ever noticed you're reading and your mind tends to fall asleep and you kind of have to reread it? The
Yeah.
reason why it's falling asleep because your mind is so bored because you're going so slow, and you need to learn to start reading at the capacity the brain can go. If you can learn to quiet that voice of reading and just kind of follow. If you think about it, there's words that you already know, like let's say Sony. I don't have to say Sony because I know looking at that word it says Sony,
Hmm.
and so just seeing it, it's already there. So I guess I said Sony because it's on my camera right now.
Yeah,
But
I got it too.
but if there's words that we already know, we don't have to stand out. And if we can just kind of go and just let that information come in later on, and of course Jim Quick practices the art of bringing back the information that you store, remembering everything, because everything your brain takes in, it keeps it. And that's Thunderstorm,
Oh wow.
where we're at now. And so he wrote a book called Limitless, kind of like the movie, because in his teaching is the brain can store anything and everything, and if you learn how to speed read, you can technically store all that information to recall anytime you need to, which would give you a limitless mindset to bring that. And of course, the reason I also did that is because learning that recall also helps the memory aspect to help me learn scripts faster
Hmm.
and recall. And then even with that, once you confidently know it, then you can play with it and of course
Yeah.
all those stuff, and you can where the real magic happens. But anyway, no, that's all that just to say that I got into practice of writing whenever I can't, I got too much and I just
Yeah.
need to let it out, and then I consciously say, okay, you stay in this book, I'm going to bed.
Hmm.
And it's helped me out at least. But yeah, every now and then when that doesn't work, I use melatonin.
Sleep aids to the
It's like
rescue.
yourself.
Yeah.
I don't see the need for alcohol anymore in my life simply because I have nothing to numb really,
Hmm.
and it really is a freeing
Hmm.
thought. It really is a freeing practice. Don't get me wrong. If there's a birthday party or someone gets married and they give me champagne, I'll drink it.
Hmm.
But I don't keep it in my house. I have no
Yeah.
need to keep it in my house. But other than
You,
that, my man. Oh gosh, we this has been a good talk. David, this
yes,
has been a really good,
I
and
really enjoyed it.
we didn't even get into the meat and potatoes of the questionnaire, which is okay, because what you shared is something that people needed to hear. So, but one thing that I am going to ask you, and this is at the end of the questionnaire, and this is, I ask every guest these questions, and
Okay.
definitely we have to bring you back for season two. Season two, I'm changing everything up. Instead of having interviews, I want to have more like what we had, a conversation with all my
Hmm.
guests, where it's a give and take. They can ask me stuff, or I can pour out more, just to have it more of an open conversation. Because iron sharpens iron. We pull out the best out of each other so that we can bring more value to my audience.
Hmm.
So one of the questions I like to ask every one of my guests is, what disciplines or habits have you made a common practice in your everyday?
Oh. I drink coffee after I wake up, about an entire pot of it, not in one time, throughout the course of the morning. My ritual, though, with that is that I will make a strong batch because I have to have strong coffee. but I'll let it brew enough to fill up 1 cup and then pour it in, because most of the caffeine is now in that first cup of coffee, and the subsequent coffees are weaker, but that first one, it's like espresso almost in a coffee cup. I don't have a lot of disciplines aside from getting up and making sure I have coffee. It used to be smoke a cigarette. Now it's not. It used to be chain smoke a couple of cigarettes in the morning, and now it's not. I do, not every day. It's been worse because of, or since the pandemic, but positive affirmations in the day, in the morning, mostly, you got this. And just look at myself in the mirror. You got
Yeah.
this. If I don't feel up to it and I don't feel like saying it, then I know something is starting in the brain, meaning this is probably the beginning of a spiral. Yep, this is a spiral. All right. What can we do to induce anxiety? Let's chain smoke a bunch of cigarettes. Let's drink as much coffee as we can and make our lives hell for a couple of hours. No. I would say doing my best to not allow myself to be the bad guy all the time. And I don't know if that's necessarily a day-to-day discipline that I do, that's a habit, but it's habitual because I feel like I'm to blame for everything that's ever happened in my life, because everything that has led up to today is a direct consequence, cause and effect of every choice that you've made in life.
Correct.
Even if
You just remind me of something, but finish your thought.
even if someone else made choices and it's now affecting your life, you made the choice to bring them into your life. So now you have to deal with that. And then you decide, do you want to deal with that? Is this person even worth keeping in my life? Which I get rid of a lot of them because they're not. No offense to people, but that owning up to it. And at least that's what I've been doing during the pandemic. And I guess that could be habitual and day to day because the last year and a half has gone by in about 3 weeks. So,
Wow. Yeah. Uh, uh, so part of the things when as a speaker, I first help people realize that they need to detach from the failure. But then the part of taking ownership of your life is all about that, recognizing that you are here because of the choices and decisions you made in the past. However, you can take ownership of that. It doesn't have to become the ugly demon, but rather it's a stepping stool towards something greater. Because if that is true, I mean, like, if that is true, then you are in control. Then now, once you set another goal, then you know that you can now. So if the choices and decisions you made yesterday have brought you where you are today, then the choices and decisions you now can start making will take you to a better tomorrow. So now you are the owner of your life. So it is true. I made these mistakes. I chose this. But this doesn't define me anymore. My failures don't define me anymore. It's a life lesson. So now I've learned, I forgot who said it. Many speakers that I've listened to, they said you either win or you learn, but you never lose. You're either winning or you're learning something new. And then you can use that to say, all right, well, now I can choose. I'm in control of my future, so I can change my choices to something different. To me, that's a powerful mindset to know that, yes, I made a mistake, but I don't have to play the victim because I can correct, I can change my compass, redirect it, and start going towards where I need to go. So I find that powerful.
Yeah.
That is a very powerful mindset. Of course, I'm all about stoicism, strong mental strength, and that has helped me a lot to be able to get into this new arena that we now play in. Next question that I have for you, David, unless you have a comment about that.
No, I mean, I have a comment for everything. So yeah, let's move on.
I mean, we got time. I mean, like I told you earlier, I can stream up to 4 hours, but I don't know if we want to go that long. I'm trying to be a YouTuber sensation, or not a YouTuber, Twitch sensation. But in respect to what you're doing today as an actor, there's people who've heard your stories, our stories, and they're thinking to themselves, I would like to try that. What one resource or step or what one piece of advice would you say, hey, if you do want to try this fun, crazy life of ours, here's maybe a first step that you should do.
Ah. First step, I would suggest go to a community theater. Every community has at least one somewhere. Doesn't matter how well known they are or not. Go in, audition for something.
Yes.
You'll be thrown into the audition pits, which is awful. It's the pit of rejection because only one person's going to get that role out of however many people that audition for it. And they may not even be the person that you think is the best pick, but they are the directors, the filmmakers, the production team. That's their pick to tell their story, which is another thing.
Yeah,
But
that's a whole different.
if you don't get cast and then you audition for something else and you don't get cast and then you also audition for something else and then you again don't get cast, then we're starting to see a trend. Okay, what do I need to do here? What do I need to change? Do I really want to be an actor or do I really want to be a famous celebrity? Okay,
Ooh.
I would love to be a famous celebrity. Oh yeah, that'd be great. I want all the money. Okay, you can Venmo, by the way. Um,
Yes.
but if you are not any good at it, you have to realize that you're not any good at it and form a game plan of how to get good at it.
Mm.
Because some people start from a natural place. They have a natural ability inside of them. I was lucky enough to have a bit of a natural knack to it, but I immediately recognized after a couple of several plays, really, and musicals, that there was a lot more that I needed to do because I wanted to be a film actor. I don't want to be a stage actor primarily. I like doing both. I love doing both. For any person, how do I get started in acting? How do I get started in acting? Well, go act, my dear. That's the thing. Go do it. How? Go to a community theater. They want you. I promise they want new talent. The moment that I stepped into Murfreesboro Theater on their stage, everyone was like, "Oh, we have a new actor finally!" Because
Fresh
they had
face.
that's it, a fresh face, and they one lady was very nice after watching Butterflies Are Free. She had not seen me do anything. She didn't know who I was. She thought I was a legitimate blind actor because I played a blind guy in the show. She thought I was blind, and like her sister or her brother, one of the two, was a blind person. So she was like, "I thought that you were blind," and that I mean that was really something else because I didn't think that I thought I could always tell. Blah blah blah, whatever awesome compliment that she gave me, but
Mm.
mostly it was that she had not known who I was because I was a fresh face because they want new people. How many theaters all of a sudden, oh my God, another new face, please come audition for our shows. We need a new face because we're tired of seeing James David West. We need somebody else. And I didn't get cast like that, but I'm just throwing out
Yeah, yeah.
things. That's the number one advice.
That's
Just go
good.
try it.
That's goal, baby, right
Yeah.
there. I mean, it's the it's the compliment, not compliment. What's that word? The equivalence
Mm,
of people saying, "How do I ride a bike? Just get on the bike and start pedaling." You know,
yeah.
how do I make money? Start, or how do I start my business? Just
Mm,
do it. You know,
start
just do it kind of situation. But I didn't want to go there, but we went there. But no,
it.
I love that. I mean, local theater is a good place, great place to
It
start.
is and you will find out if you do get cast in the very first one, you will find out if you're any good at it. As soon as you're on that stage and you got 65 people staring at your frightened face, sweating bullets, wondering why you're not talking yet because this bright light is glaring in your face and you've forgotten your lines and you don't know what to do and you got three other people on stage waiting for you to speak. You'll find out real quick if you have a knack for it. And if you don't, it's fine. It's fine. And that's another thing. Try something. Always try something. I'm trying to be a photographer right now. I'm learning things about photography. Do I ever think that I will be a professional photographer? Probably not. Um, would I say that I have a photography website? No, I don't, because I don't. I take some cool photos sometimes, and I'm still a newbie baby photographer. I give credit to my friend Jarvis. He said that online one day, and I've kept it ever since.
The
Newbie
newbie
baby.
baby.
Yeah,
Cool. No, I won't. I won't use it. I'll just stick with noob. Isn't that what it
noob.
means? Noob.
I mean, a noob. Yeah,
A
that's what
noob.
it is. He said it in reference to directing something, which he's like, I'm a newbie baby director because he directed a couple of episodes of this web series, and I just thought that's a good way to say, please be kind and gentle
Yeah.
with your criticisms.
That's brilliant. Love it. All right. Final question, and then we'll close the show for
Hmm.
tonight or for this week. If you want to be found, my good sir, how would you? How could people find you?
You can look up James David West on the internet.
Yes. Google him. He likes it when you Google him.
Chances are either my Facebook will show up, my website will show up, my Instagram will show up. There's also some guy named James David West who like brought a gun into a school or something. So don't pay attention
Not
to
that
that
guy.
article. It wasn't me. It was somebody else.
He was an actor.
He wasn't an actor. Uh, but yeah, all of my handles are James David West. James David West. And that's what you were saying about your identity with here's who I am and here's this brand. You are your brand. How do you
Yeah.
combine the two? James David West everywhere, except for Twitter because some guy got it first. So on Twitter, I am
Let's go spam him.
uh, the fake JD Dubs.
That's a whole different name too. I love it.
Yeah, because I love how people say something something official or the real something something. And I had that official at first when I was a brand new actor on the scene. James David West official.
Official. Oh,
No one's trying to be James David West. What do I need an official page for? There is no other James David West in the entertainment industry. There's no reason to have an official or a real page. So then I made the fake JD Dubs because I got mad at that other guy or bot who has never posted, liked, or commented or anything. It's just a generic thing,
it's a
and
bot.
it's a bot
He follows me. No, just kidding.
who follows me. Yeah. James David West. Just I'm a public entity. You can find me.
Perfect. Thank you so much, James David
Hmm.
West, for coming to Hey Rockstar,
Thanks
for
for having me.
bringing some valuable stories and experiences. You probably don't feel like it, but you definitely have brought some good stuff to this table, to this panel that my I know that my audience is gonna find some really good value out of it. So let me go ahead and close the show out. I'm gonna leave you here because I want people to look at you while we're going out,
Okay.
or we're shutting down the show, and then we'll talk a little bit afterwards. But
All
first of
right.
all, to all my audience, everyone, thank you for coming back. Thank you for checking us out. This has been episode 47 of Hey Rockstar, an interview with a rock star featuring the one, the only the one and only James David West. Just a friend, an actor, producer, and now director, musician, songwriter, apparently, or just a musician. And
Bad songwriter, but yeah.
it's been he's got a repertoire of experience in performance and entertainment, but most importantly, he has had people and life experience. I love it. But just again, everyone who came to check out the show or is repeating, watch this later, listening to this later on the podcast, thank you. Thank you so much for letting us into your homes. Thank you for letting us into your cars. But most especially, thank you for letting us into your hearts. Please take all this value that we've given you today, apply it to your life, to your disciplines, and use that to encourage you again to separate from or to detach from failure, take ownership of your life, and develop the right mindset to become the rock star of your industry. So all the way from Nashville, Tennessee, this has been Josafat El Guapo Emiliano. We got James David West and Miguel back there just doing his thing. That's my little monkey friend right there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He's the lovable co-host of Hey Rockstar when we don't have guests. And when we do have guests, I just make them sit back there. But anyway, all the way from Nashville, Tennessee, Until next time, much love and many blessings.